I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Suzanne Bowen. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I have to say, it's a beautiful night, definitely. And it's kind of interesting that someone I don't know asked me to interview. So I've done that often myself, and it's kind of surprising to see someone else do it.
Oh, so it has come full circle around, has it?
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Well, let's see if, I'm definitely going to get to know you after this conversation. Hopefully you'll get to know me from the questions I ask you.
Sounds good.
Well, Suzanne, tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time?
Well, I think actually that it might be more your talent that made this possible. If I were to say what I might have done that made you decide to open this opportunity up, maybe it's my collaborative nature, offline, especially online, which everyone can see. I don't know, like I co-founded Super Technologies with a guy from Pakistan, a VoIP geek in 1999. So that's pretty collaborative, pretty open. And then I think it was 2011, I co-founded another company, a fashion startup, Suzanne, with another VoIP geek from another area of the world.
So, are you serious? Like two same names in different places? Wow.
Yeah, you get to know people, and who knows what will happen. Just take a chance, Stay safe, but take a chance.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love how you said that. Stay safe. You definitely need to stay safe in the online world. Most definitely. Well, I'll tell you, the way that I connected with you is via searching podcast as my keyword on LinkedIn, being wanting to have podcasters on this particular quest that I have for 800 conversations in 12 weeks. So that would have been the way I found you, actually.
That's neat. I know the last one that I did was with three very unique people. A telecommunications millionaire from Israel. His name was Moshe. And the second was a guy, Rich Tarani from TMC, which is it's sort of like an encyclopedic marketplace for the same type business industry. And the third one was kind of like an evangelist for new technology. And those other two were in the US and UK. So it made for a very interesting podcast. So I'm glad that you researched looking, since this is what you're doing. And I'm glad that I found you. You found me.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. What was the name of that podcast?
I believe it was we were talking about...
So this was you just joining them on the podcast, yeah?
Yeah, I came up with the idea. I do random podcasts for DIDX, which is a telecommunications related company. And then I also do them for Suzanne for fashion. And also I do some with different events that are technology or telecom related or fashion related. All right. There's not any certain name of the podcast, just different topics, random.
Yeah, that has happened. Like individuals that have been on a lot of podcasts do show up on our searches when we do that. But it's all me searching. This isn't any lead generation. This is all me, like searching for individuals. I think podcasters rock, right? In Trini language, I would say they're good. Podcasters real good, right? But tell us, who did you develop the skill of networking from?
I have to say that I'm probably, without realizing it, copying my mother. Because what I remember about her is that she made friends with and developed business with people of all lifestyles, ethnicity, nationality. She just didn't seem to be too afraid of anything. And I remember this one guy, Dell. He was actually a divorcee who had recently discovered that he was homosexual. And then the second one I remember was Shane. He was a dyslexic high school dropout, but super smart. And then I remember a doctor, one of her professors who was Indian from India. Um, he was taught adolescent psychology. And I remember her doing some kind of work with all these different people and welcoming them into her home. So she just was awesome to learn from, networking and collaborating.
And now that you've done it, why will you continue to repeat that skill?
I just want to continue, just jump at every chance to team up with, current potential customers, neighbors, even acquaintances to reach, how would you say it, like mutual quality of life enhancing goals together. You know, that's why.
All right. Well, tell us one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
Last 3 years, I actually asked several of my friends, both business type friends and, personal friends, what they thought. And they said there was a trend in their answers, taking big chances, making big changes as needed, giving people a chance that no one else wants to, maybe being the first one to speak up about something, and that I'm obviously doing a lot of research, observing, and looking for trends, hopefully before they even happen, to be ready, be a part of it.
How does that make you feel? Being that person, even getting the feedback that you are that person from friends, how does that make you feel?
It it made me feel really positive and energized. Sometimes taking big chances and making big changes is scary, but knowing I have this network of friends that I help them this way, they help me. I just feel like there's never a task that faces me that I have to do alone, that I can't involve other people, and the results are better than if I try to do things by myself.
Suggest to someone that's listening why they should do that. They definitely develop their networks, definitely develop their inner circle.
I think if we live in the same place, work at the same place with people who believe and act like we do, we can actually become lazy, bored, unmotivated, even depressed. And I think that when we reach out to team up in any aspect of our lives with people who may not be the same religion, color, nationality, lifestyle, and so forth, that we actually enrich each other. So that's what I would suggest to someone do if they like how it sounds that I'm doing.
Yeah. Is there anywhere that you would like to point people to anything that you've created or anything you're doing?
Uh, I guess just check out my social profiles maybe and how I work with other people in public,
All right.
whether it's audio, visual, video, or text chat, on tmcnet.com blog and suzati.com and didx.net, but via, Twitter, Instagram, even the most technical business-like organizations. You can even use profiles, platforms such as Instagram, which are great for networking. And I would just say, look at those areas to see how I'm doing exactly what I've been talking about, because I'd love to be involved with those listening somehow, if at all possible.
Yeah, makes sense. Love it. All right. Well, Susan, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Susan, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Wow, you kind of got me started there and thinking I want to hear about yours.
You aren't going to flip this on me, Susan. Not tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess my earliest childhood memory would be when my brother, sisters, and I had the measles all at once.
How old were you?
I think we were I was between 6 and 8 years old. I can't really remember.
Why do you think this memory is so clear, though?
I think that even though we were miserable physically, very sick, that we just got really creative together, and our parents allowed that. And during that time, I remember we couldn't go to school, so we were cooking a lot with much altered recipes, and we were spoofing popular songs, and we would laugh so much we couldn't breathe. Like, I remember this one, I'm not going to sing it because I don't sing very well, but this one, it was something like, we changed it to, if you're ever in a pickle, be ready to tickle. If you're ever in between a rock and hard place, ouch, it's plain as a nose on your face. If you ever feel so bonkers, you hide in the trash can, we'll save you. Anyway, it's something from Lucille Ball, her I Love Lucy show, but we kind of spoofed it.
Yeah.
So that's what I remember first.
That's amazing. How do you see that memory connecting to who you are today?
I think that no matter how tough things get, there's a bright way to handle it. And part of it is what we've already been talking about, finding people to work together, trying something new, even if we make mistakes, being silly, laughing, and good things happen as a result.
Well done, Suzanne. You did your homework. I love it. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
When I was 12, and probably even now, one of my favorite songs of all time would be John Lennon's Imagine.
Amazing how it connects, right?
Yes.
That's amazing. All right. Well, Susan, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Susan?
Yes.
Susan, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Of course.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes, I'm lucky.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Somewhere around there, yes.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Less than 8, off and on, all day.
If you, Suzanne, had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Suzanne Bowen, what would you say that is?
I say something like this a lot, and it ends up being a part of the conversation. It's part of my mission with different companies I've worked with, and that is that the people are more important than the products and services we provide them. And as long as we're thinking that way, I think we're going to have more success and we're going to have more fun.
Love it. Susan, this was such a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I think doing like you're doing. I think there's a quote by Napoleon Hill, and he said, "We can succeed best and quickest by helping others to succeed." And so if we all do this mental, mutual back scratching with everyone that we come into contact with offline and online, just imagine what we can accomplish, you know?
Love it. I love the mental back scratching visual.
Yeah. Everyone would love to have their back scratched, you know?
Exactly. Well, Susan, again, great pleasure. Thank you so much for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
It was wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.